It was a quiet Thursday afternoon in the small town of Fairgrove, nestled between sleepy hills and winding roads. Officer Dana Carter had just finished her coffee when the dispatch came through. A concerned neighbor had called about a little girl wandering barefoot in the street, clutching a doll and mumbling something about her father being under the floor. When Officer Carter arrived at the scene, the girl stood in front of an old two-story house, its paint peeling and windows clouded with grime. She couldn't have been more than 7 years old, the tangled blonde hair and a pink unicorn t-shirt streaked with dirt. "Hi, sweetie. I'm Officer Carter. Are you okay?" The girl blinked at her, eyes wide and unblinking. "Daddy's under the floor," she said plainly. "He's not dead." Those 5 words were enough to make Dana pause. In law enforcement, you learn to trust your gut. Something about this little girl, her voice steady and her stare hollow, raised every internal alarm. "Where's your mom, honey?" The girl didn't answer. Instead, she turned and started walking toward the house, motioning for Dana to follow. Inside, the air was thick with dust and something worse, a cloying, metallic scent that prickled the back of Dana's throat. She radioed for backup. The interior was dark, despite the afternoon sun, and the living room looked like it hadn't been cleaned in years. Piles of clothes, pizza boxes, and overturned furniture were scattered everywhere. In the corner sat a woman early, 30's eyes sunken, lips twitching, rocking slowly in a stained recliner. "That your mom?" Dana asked quietly. The girl nodded. "She doesn't talk anymore." "Ma'am," Dana said, approaching cautiously. "Are you okay?" The woman looked up, confused. Her eyes were bloodshot, and Dana saw signs of recent drug use, trembling. Hands, erratic, blinking. She didn't speak, but gave a strange half-smile before staring blankly back at the wall. That's when the girl pointed to the floor in the middle of the room. "He's under there, Daddy. I saw Mommy put him there." More officers arrived minutes later. Dana briefed them quickly, and they secured the mother while child services were called. The girl, who finally said her name was Eliza, remained oddly calm. "He's not dead," she repeated. "He just stopped moving when Mommy hit him with the metal stick. But I saw his eye look at me." Officer Carter stared at the floor, then pulled out her flashlight. The floorboards looked disturbed, one of them slightly misaligned near an old rug. "We're going to need a search warrant," said Officer Reynolds. "I'm not waiting," Dana muttered. "This is probable cause." With consent from the woman, though it was barely coherent, they began pulling up the boards. The scent that hit them was unmistakable. 2 feet down, under layers of dirt and insulation, was a large plastic tarp. When it was unwrapped, it revealed a man mid-40s, bruised and battered but unmistakably alive, though unconscious. "Get Ems now," Dana shouted. It was a miracle. The man had a weak pulse, shallow breathing, and massive head trauma, but he was alive. Eliza stood nearby, not crying, not speaking, just watching. In the days that followed, the story stunned the town. Da-da-da-da. Man, identified as Thomas Harper, had been reported missing 2 weeks earlier. His wife, Angela, had told police he'd run off after a fight. No one questioned it. Thomas had a few prior run-ins with alcohol, and many thought he might have just disappeared on a bender. But Eliza had seen it all. The fight, the blow to the head with a metal pipe, her mother's frantic digging in the living room floor after sending her to her room. But Eliza didn't stay in her room. She watched from the staircase, silently clutching her doll. Thomas had apparently regained consciousness several times underground, faintly calling out, but the insulation and soil muffled everything. What saved him was the loose patchwork job Angela did. Burying him enough oxygen had seeped in to keep him alive, just barely. Angela was arrested and charged with attempted murder, endangering a child, and multiple drug-related offenses. She refused to speak during interrogation, only repeating, "He was never going to leave me. Never." Doctors confirmed that Thomas had suffered brain trauma, dehydration, and severe bruising, but they believed he could recover. When he awoke 3 days later in the ICU, his first question was, "Is Eliza okay?"
Yeah.
The little girl, now in foster care, became a symbol of strength in the community. For weeks, people left stuffed animals and notes on the steps of the Harper house. which had been cordoned off as a crime scene. Officer Dana Carter visited Elisa every week, bringing her small gifts and reading books with her. "You saved your daddy's life," she told her once. Eliza looked up with those steady, knowing eyes. "I just told the truth." The case drew statewide media attention. And for good reason. A child's calm honesty had cracked a case that would have ended in tragedy. When Thomas was finally able to walk again, he asked to see his daughter. That reunion was quiet, tearful, and filled with more emotion than words could capture. "I didn't know if I'd ever see you again," he whispered, hugging her tightly. Eliza hugged him back, resting her head on his chest. "I knew you weren't gone. I could feel you under the floor." And in that moment, surrounded by the sterile whiteness of the hospital room, the two of them began the long, painful journey of healing from the floorboards of horror to the fragile light of a second chance.